Okay, so now I will be doing the background. So I'll be creating the background. So as you can see, I have my simple file ready here. So as you can see, the size that I have chosen or I have set for the file is double the width, right? So here is my scene size, for example. I am just using it for reference. And then I have doubled the width of the file that I'm working on. But still, I am on a 1080 pixel height. So if you would like to be sure and check the size or the dimension, you can always go back here, image size, and you will see there's the pixel units, there's the double 1920, which is now 3840, but still on a 1080 height. So everything is fine there. So I have it on a separate layer. I have just a simple background layer. Now I will start my sketch study. So I would like to put a layer there. Okay, I can lock this layer. I can lock it. If I lock it this way, that means I will not be able to do anything with it. Move it, select it, brush it. That's it. But if I would like to just lock the brushes, that means I will not be able to paint anything over it, but it will still allow me to move. So this is the move tool right there. That's your move tool. Okay. So I will be able to move or position it if I need to. If I need to. Okay. So let's switch to a full view, pressing F there. And then I can press F7 to bring out my layers. I can press tab to bring out my tools presets. So if I switch to a brush, so where's the brush tool? Shortcut is B. Then I'll go to my new layer. So this is where I can start my sketching. Let's say I'd like to use a bit of a thicker and much more visible brush. So right now I'll just do a concept sketch. Okay, so I'll just stick with brush number 5 or this size for my brush preset. Stay here on this layer. Now I can press tab to hide the rest, and I can start my sketching or doodling. So let's say I would like to create 3 layers of backgrounds. So this is going to be the first layer. Um, this is going to be the foreground. So the foreground is going to be, of course, placed in front of the character layer. And then underneath that is going to be the midground. The midground usually is the ground where the character is going to be placed or standing up or walking on, right? Usually it's also the where you can find the horizon. And then I will add a first layer of background. That means there will be elements here on top or placed on the midground, and finally the background will be there. So that's how many layers? You have foreground, midground, background 1, background 2. Okay, so let's say those are the 4 layers of backgrounds that I want. So let's create that. A new layer. Let's say let's name this foreground. So after I have created the foreground, I'll do some concept sketch over it. Okay, is it? Let me check the view. It's not. This is being distorted for now. Okay, so now we have to decide. Okay, I've decided the layers of my backgrounds. So where is this really going to happen? So where is the character walking? Is the character walking, since we know that the action of the character that we have cleaned up and provided in between is walking. So we decide, is it walking inside a building, inside a house, or is it walking outside on the street or in a forest? So let's decide. For you, you can decide which. Is it walking inside or outside? So let's say I decide, for me, my character is walking outside. Okay, if it is walking outside, where? So you decide those things. Let's just put it in note. So character, so it's walking outside. And where is that outside? Let's say, let's choose the woods or forest, somewhere that there are plants, right? Plants and trees, and of course grass on the ground. So at least when you decide these two, you already have an idea of what you will be drawing or putting into the elements that you have decided. Okay, so that's the concept there. Character is walking outside, and he is walking in a forest or wood. Okay, so now let's start establishing that visually. I'll close this for now. So the foreground, let's say on the foreground, I'll decide that I will have bushes. So this is going to be bushes. Let's say that. And then there will be some foreground, the body, not a complete view, but a body or the trunk of a tree. So that will add depth. The style of our drawing will also should be close to the style of our character. So character is a bit cartoony, so we don't have to be realistic with the way the foreground and the whole background is to be drawn. So I will add another uh, smaller tree here, perhaps a smaller trunk, but with more or has more branches. That at least, it frames the character that's walking. So let's keep up with the bushes. Let's say there. So that's for me. So this is just a concept to start with. There, right? So that's my foreground. Right? Foreground here. That is fine with me. Now next, I'll add a mid-ground. So let's add the mid-ground. Since we have decided that this is going to be a forest or a woods type of place, let us place some details on ground. Okay, so let's say on the ground where the character is going to be walking, there are also some cut or fallen down woods or logs here. Let's position it there. Let's have some cut off branch there, and then let's put some small growing or traces of growing weeds. And then here also you can add um, another let's say a cut off body sorry a still rooted tree, but the trunk has been cut off. There, that could add. So again, some small reeds or weeds there growing up. Then we can add also a layer of bushes here. So you can add a more rounded. I think I'll have this part of the bushes more rounded. This one is a bit more pointy because it's showing the tips. Oops, sorry. But this one, since they are far away, let's view them in clumps. So that's why I'm turning it into rounded patterns. Okay? And then on the background level 1, so let's just name that BG. So this is going to be the main background because it's really a bit way at the back right now. I would like, let's say, I'd like a bit more frequency of tree trunks. A bit more frequency of tree trunks since we decided he's in the forest or woods. So a bit more organic presence there. But let's have some a little detail since it is a bit far. So add some further details to it that the trees, oh sorry, thinner, they are a bit further. Then from there, we haven't decided something. I haven't mentioned it, or sorry, I did not include it in our conceptualization process earlier. So background number 2. So this is the second layer, and this is where it is. This is where sorry. This is why it's important. We have decided that the character is walking outside woods in the forest. So that's where the character is. But we haven't decided the time or the when part. When? When is the character walking, or meaning what time? Was the character walking in day, during the day, or was the character walking during the night? Right? So that is again something you decide. By the way, this part, I'm just showing you. Usually this have in a scene production, this has already been discussed. Meaning, the scene is already complete. We are just uh, a bit working backwards, wherein how you conceptualize a background, huh? But usually you receive this incomplete story as per the storyboard. Now, this info, when is the character walking or what time? So let's decide that I would like the character to be walking at night. So let's just erase this. Time. I'll just mention here. Oops. Time. It's going to be night. So nighttime, still his color can be shaded into that, or it is still a fine color for night. Okay. So the character, we have decided that I have decided that the character is to be walking at night time. So in the farthest background here, I can add an element. For example, let's say the moon. You can decide if the moon is going to be here. There, let's say. That's the moon. Or let's have a crescent. to be more a bit suggestive of what it is. It could be mistaken for a sun. Let's say, for now, half crescent moon up there, and then let's say we add a small detail of stars or a star field, a field of stars there with background. Let me add a third background. BG03. Eventually, I might merge this with background 02. So let me just use this time a blending brush. A blending brush is a brush that you see you can, it's a transparent type of brush there. So I would like to express that it's going to be dark. Surrounding the night there. So only the moon and the stars are going to be bright and slowly moving, perhaps, in the background there. Right? So this is an example of a background concept. There. Like that. Brush. And let's just, oops, where's the brush? Here, let me just go back to my inking set. Let's say here, brushing it. Let me set that here. So that's going to be a present moon. Let's fix that properly with an eraser. Yeah. Let's say for now it's just the moon to be assigned here. That's the purpose of that drawing. Okay, so this is how you start conceptualizing your background. Okay, so let's say if this is the good thing about Photoshop, because from here already you know that this is the limit of your scene. This is already the screen size, where the gray area of the character. Now, if I am to be moving the backgrounds, so let's foresee, if I am to move the the foregrounds for animation, say there, and then I'll be moving it, holding Control T. So as you can see, I can already move. I can do some test animations here for the background. Okay? You can already do that since you are in Photoshop. See? That's the good thing about it. Okay? So now that I have conceptualized or started the sketch of my background, I hope this helps you out in creating yours. Okay?